Hello, welcome to a new episode of the Therapy Table, where we talk about mental health, healing, and human experience. At Lighthouse Counseling Services, we understand how deeply addiction can affect individuals, families, relationships, and daily lives. So today, on this windy day, we are here with Al Richards to do this episode of The Other Side of the Storm, Shedding Light on Addiction. We continue a compassionate and honest conversation, one that honors the pain of addiction while also highlighting the hope that healing brings. Al Richards is a passionate advocate for recovery and the host of an upcoming Healing Utah Success Summit, which is occurring in October, correct?
Yeah, October 4th, at the Miller Free Enterprise Building in Sandy, Utah.
It's coming up.
Oh, it's really quick. It'll be here before we know it.
Right.
Yeah.
I also host a podcast called AR, The Other Side of Addiction. So whether you're walking through this storm yourself, supporting someone you love, or simply seeking better understanding, pull up a chair. This episode is for you. So Al, tell us, what led you to become involved in the world of addiction?
You know, it was something that if you would have asked me that 5 years ago, if I was going to be where I'm at today, I would probably say absolutely not. You know, it's crazy where life takes you. So I battled a weekend cocaine and alcohol use like every Friday and Saturday night, and I did it for 8 years straight. It was only on the weekend because I was very dedicated to my job. I ended up losing my job because of it. In 2009, I had 24 years in. And when I lost my job, I had somebody call me and, say, hey, it sucks that you lost your job. And, around the shop, he was known as a liar and a manipulator. And I'm like, come BS, And I got done with the conversation, and the person I was at the time, man, my ego was way up here, right? You didn't mess with Al. And I started really thinking about it. And I thought, you know what? They're right. That's exactly who I am. And it's like, my gosh, if other people are seeing me that way, what do my daughters see? I'm just now starting to have grandkids. What are they going to see? So I'm like, I've got to figure out what I need to do to change my life. Well, while I started working on figuring out which direction for me, my wife at the time fell into alcoholism. So it's kind of like, and I hid the cocaine usage from her the whole time we were together.
Oh, wow.
So we dated for 3 years. We had only been married a month and a half when I lost my job. And I had to come clean and tell her why. She stuck with me. So I stuck with her during her addiction. 9 years of it. 9 years of hell. And then she ended up going 2.5 years sober. And then she fell back into it. But during that time, I made a lot of mistakes as a spouse. I didn't still look at myself as an addict. I still didn't even talk about it. I played the victim on her side, right? It was her alcoholism. And something just kept telling me there was something I needed to do. And I like to say now, I know it was my spirit. And that's what got me involved. Somebody talked about a podcast one day, and I'm like, what's a podcast? You don't listen to podcasts? I'm like, no, that's why I said, what are they? Like, oh my gosh, you can find this subject, and this subject, and this subject. And all of a sudden that light bulb went off. I went, that's it. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I started doing a podcast, and by having guests coming on the show from the recovery community, I started going out there and I started meeting people. And it was very helpful because, my wife was going to events and AA meetings and different things like that. So I just tagged along. Plus, I was there to still support her.
Yeah.
But I just started meeting people, and it's like, hey, come on my show. And it just all started from there. And here it is. Gosh, it was 4 years in March that I started doing my show. I just recorded my 351st episode just before I came here. And man, sometimes I get emotional thinking about it because I've interviewed people from the UK, Canada, all over the United States. I've heard so many stories. I have literally changed how I look at addiction compared to how I used to look at addiction. And that's what got me on this path.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us more about that change of viewing addiction from before to now?
Well, yeah, because I think the majority of us, we go downtown, we see the unsheltered down there, we see the addicts, right? We see somebody tweaking on the side of the sidewalk or talking to a tree or standing on the corner doing all kinds of weird stuff. And we have this stigma, and it's like, yeah, get your life together, right? I looked at it as people just decide, I just love drugs more than anything else. And that's how I always viewed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case. The drugs, the alcohol, the porn, the gambling, the gaming, the eating, the work, whatever it may be, those are just the Band-Aids. Something else is going on inside. And it's changed my whole outlook, because now I go downtown and I see these certain individuals, and now I scratch my head and I go, what has happened in your life to put you here? Because no one wakes up that I know of, wakes up and go, you know what? I'm going to be a heroin addict. And I'm going to be the best damn heroin addict that I can be. I'm going to destroy every relationship. I'm going to burn every bridge. I'm going to lose everything I worked my butt off for. Yep, that's what I'm going to do in my life. It doesn't happen that way. It happens in slow, little, teeny baby steps. And then by the time we know it, we're so far deep, we're just like, how do I get out now?
Right.
Yeah.
That's got to be scary to be in that hole of, how do I get out now? What advice would you give to family members who have loved ones, or even friends of loved ones who have an addiction? How can they help them without enabling them? And kind of backing up for 2 seconds, what does enabling do for the addict?
Oh, enabling just fuels it.
So it's not helping.
I'm seriously, it fuels. I enabled my wife so much. I mean, and what we do as loved ones, we think we're helping them, and it's totally the opposite effect. We are hurting them more than anything, and it's our love, right?
Right.
I mean, if one of your kids fell into addiction, I mean, especially as a mother, right? I mean, you grew that individual.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to not want to help is so flippin' hard. Mine was my spouse. I've told other people that I've talked to and even interviewed, I'm like, man, when it comes to your child, that's a whole different sandbox. Because I can leave a spouse. Can you leave your kid that easy? Some can, many cannot.
Right.
So when you enable, yeah, you're just hurting. You're just hurting the whole. You're causing the addiction to increase. And it took me so long to realize, Laura, there's nothing we can do. I can do everything I can to convince you to change your shoes and put them on the opposite feet. That's the best way to wear it. It's better for your feet. But if you choose not to, you're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried tooth and toe. I fought. I cried. I threw anger. I tried tough love. I did everything I knew of and talked to other people who did tough love. And they're like, that's the only way to do it. That's what worked for me. And you know, unless that person decides to get better, there's nothing you can do. The only thing you can do as a loved one is be there to support them and say, if you're willing to do this and you're doing it for you, I will be there to support you 100%.
So support doesn't look like, let me give you some money to go buy gas, or just stay here, don't worry about working or anything. It's nothing like that.
No.
Supporting them is meeting them at their level, but not feeding into the addiction.
Not feeding into it. Yeah,
just loving them for who they are outside of that
there.
addiction.
The love, right? Letting them know that you still love them, right? Because they feel like when they don't get their way and you don't fall into it, they'll throw all kinds of anger at you. Oh, you don't love me. You don't care about me. You don't care that I'm on the streets. You don't care if I get raped. You don't care if this. And they throw that guilt on you. And then that guilt gets in our head, and then we start questioning ourselves, and we're like, oh, and then we fall back into the trap. So you have to set your boundaries. And I can say that now, but believe me, I set boundaries so many frickin' times and not once ever held by it. So I had someone tell me once, all you're doing is threatening. And once you threaten so many times, they know you're not going to do it. I threatened my wife I was going to divorce her probably more times than I could count. She even told me once, you're not going to divorce me, you haven't yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, she just hit me in the gut. I mean, seriously, because she was right. She called me out on it, but when she got sober, that was one of my stipulations, and it was so hard to do.
Yeah.
Because I said, if you ever go back, I have no choice. I have to pull myself away from it, and it's difficult to do. It's really difficult. And did I pull her off the street? She ended up being homeless, and there was times I went and picked her up, and brought her back to put a roof over her head, put some food in her stomach, and I got bit every single frickin' time, and then she'd be back out again, and then next thing I know, I'm saving her again. But I did stick with the divorce. The divorce still ended up happening. But again, guys, if you do have a loved one, as long as they're willing to put in the work, we have to put in the work. And I would also say educate yourself. Educate yourself about addiction. Go to AA meetings just to hear stories, right? Talk to other people. There's Al-Anon out there. I'm not a big fan of Al-Anon, but it doesn't mean it doesn't help people. That's just me, right? It's helped a lot of people. It just wasn't a fit for me. But
so going to those kind of things could help them get a different perspective.
Absolutely, yeah.
And even talking to other addicts too of, hey, this is what I'm doing for my child. Do you think that's really helping? Because I would assume, and you can totally correct me if I'm wrong, that if you talk to an addict that you don't know, they're going to tell you that what you're doing is not helping.
Right.
But like if you were to talk to your own loved one that's an addict, they'd be like, I don't know, that's totally helping, right?
Well, yeah, and it is good because, again, that's where I learned a lot of my stuff, right, is by interviewing individuals who are in long-term recovery. And I finally got to the point where I opened up and I became vulnerable, which was nuts, right? I started my show and asking my guests to be vulnerable when I wasn't even being vulnerable myself. It took some time, and then finally somebody slapped me in the head and got me to wake up, and I started listening and paying attention and did what they said. But yeah, it's talk with people who have been in long-term recovery because, again, they've lived it. They know how an addict acts because they've been there. And they will tell you straight up front, all you're doing is enable them. No. And addiction breaks up a lot of families, right? Because it's like the good cop, bad cop, good cop, bad cop. And it changes. Sometimes it's the dad, sometimes it's the mom.
Right.
That's the good and the opposite direction. You have to come together. And another good thing, too, is if you have somebody that is going through recovery, find a family program to go to. I mean, if you take an addict out of an environment where the family doesn't understand addiction, and then they come out of recovery and you put them right back, everything's going to start all over again. When? Don't know, but it's going to happen. But when you educate yourself, as that person comes out, you're now more educated. You understand a lot more. You understand a little bit about what they've gone through, because you can't understand everything because you've not walked in their shoes. If you're not an addict, there's no way you will understand. You can read all the books, you can do everything you can, and it gives you a better idea, but to understand what's happening inside here, you don't know because you've not gone through it. So that's why it is good to talk to other people who have gone through the addiction, because they can say, hey, this is what helped, this is what my family did, and this is what brought us together. And again, bring that love, because love, puts out the highest frequency there is out there. And so many times the addict throws that "you don't love me" at me, at them, and you do love them. And as long as you let them know I'm here for you, as long as you are there for yourself. But other words, I have to keep myself away to protect myself and the rest of our family.
Right. And one of the hardest parts is that abuse that loved ones receive from the addict. Of "you don't love me," yelling at them, and just verbal and emotional abuse. What is your advice to those that are suffering from this abuse?
Man, you got to do everything you can to pull yourself away from it. I mean, you really do. And you can't beat yourself up, because addicts are very good manipulators, and they know your weak spots, right? It's almost like it comes in the handbook with it. It's just, they know how to get you to where now you start actually thinking, I'm the problem, when it's the addiction is the problem. Mm-hmm. So again, that goes back to educating yourself. You got to educate yourself about it, and you got to get yourself pulled away from it. You know, every time I brought her back in and the drinking started again, as hard as it was for me, because I would have to kick her back out, knowing she had nowhere to go. And that just ate me up inside, because I knew she was going to be sleeping under a tree or something, And
it wasn't because you didn't love her. It's because you loved her.
It's because I loved her, right? And because I couldn't fall back into that trap. I mean, 2019, I was on my way home from an event, and my mind was made up. I was going to go home and get my pistol and go up in these mountains that I truly love to be in, and I was going to take my life. I was going to take my life because of her addiction, because I could not handle what it was doing to us, what it was doing to both of us. Yeah. I just wanted it to end. And it's sad. And there's so many other people that are going through that same thing. And, a friend really woke me up when I finally opened up, and he says, "You think you're the only person that's going through this?" Well, of course I do. That's how we think, right? Right. 70 billion people on this planet, and we're the only ones that's going through it? Come on. But our brains think that way. And, when you start realizing that you need to open up or go find support groups, because I tell you what, support groups help. Find one that fits you. Like I said, Al-Anon wasn't a fit for me. I would leave there more angry and more upset than I did before I walked in. I needed support. It wasn't the type of support I was needing. Nowadays, there are so many groups out there, so many groups. I got a beautiful friend who goes to a support group almost every Wednesday. She frickin' loves it. It helps her so much. And she's never been an addict, but she's had addiction with ex-husbands, boyfriends, family members, and it just really helps her get through what she needs to get through, because we all need that support, just like the addicts need the support.
Where can people find these resources of support and such?
Oh my gosh. I tell you what, a good place to reach out to is USARA, and it's USARA. It's Utah. Oh my gosh!
Substance abuse.
Forgive me, guys, for not something maybe? Like that. Yeah, they're in Salt Lake, just off of 2100 South and State Street. Just look up USARA or Google USARA. Man, those guys are out there all over, and they support a lot of other recovery places. Mm-hmm. They can help direct you. I mean, whatever you are looking for, those guys have it. They'll be able to say, I know exactly where you need to go. They'll ask you questions so they know which resource to send you to. But yeah.
Is that for addicts or loved ones or both?
Both. You can even just walk in there. You just walk in there.
So they get it. It's hard.
Yeah, and it's free. That's what's cool about USARA is a lot of their stuff. It's all free. It's not costing anything. And for families who have put children or even spouses in recovery, it's expensive. I mean, the first time my spouse went into a detox, I had to go get a loan. Mm-hmm. It was $1,200 a day, and the maximum stay is 7 days.
Wow.
And I had to go get a loan to put her in there, and I paid on that loan for a long time, but there are a lot of other free resources out there, and all you got to do is reach out to USARA and they'll help you.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's great to have those kind of resources.
Yeah, I wish I would have known about them.
Yeah.
Right? If I just would have known about them back in the time. Yep.
So earlier you were also talking about like it being a Band-Aid. People will turn to drugs, alcohol, other addictions to help kind of numb themselves. What are some other ways that maybe like as people are going to like detox or whatnot, what are some ways that they find to replace that?
Volunteer. Community work. There's a saying in the addiction community that says the opposite of addiction is connection. And it's really spot on. In my eyes, it is spot on.
Right.
You get out there and you start doing volunteer work and you start doing community work. It's like somebody I interviewed, they said, that is my new drug. I get such a high out of it, and it's a high that I don't wake up the next morning and feel like crap. I feel amazing, right?
Right.
Because they're out there helping other individuals, whether they're feeding the unsheltered,
right,
whether they're helping somebody clean up a yard or a park or do some painting or fix an elderly's home or whatever, and that really starts changing that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So it really, really helps, and the majority of the people who have really gotten through their addiction and they're thriving and they're doing really well, I would say 99% of them got themselves involved with volunteer work and got themselves in the community and helped everywhere they possibly can, because it fills that void, apparently, right? It's that connection, because again, we all need that connection.
Yeah.
We can't, I mean, we found that out in 2020, right? We found out that separation doesn't do us very good as humans. We need that connection. And when you have that connection and you're hanging around like-minded people, you start firing healthier neurons, and slowly but surely those other ones, they start weakening and weakening and weakening. And before you know it, you're a year in and you're doing awesome.
So that's something that a loved one could also do with their loved one that's an addict.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, let's go volunteer to enable that part of the brain to fire off more. Because with an addict, you probably know this already, but for our viewers, an addict, the frontal cortex of their brain shuts down, which is the logical thinking part of the brain. And the amygdala, that's your fight, flight, freeze, is just fired, and it's like stuck on. And so it's, I've got to find more, I've got to fight with people, and so they're just always in this fight, flight, freeze situation. And so volunteering helps move it to the other part of the brain that is more about our other survival instincts, such as being with others.
Yeah. Well, and
help strengthen that.
And even so, like my late wife, she just got this fire under her butt, and she's like, my gosh, I had so many people help me. I'm going to go out there and see what I can do to help other people, right? And what really switched it was our very first Healing Utah Success Summit that we did in August in 2022.
Yeah.
I mean, on the way home, she goes, babe, I know what I want to do. She goes, this just, it excited me so much, and I realized this is what I want to do. And she ended up getting certified as a peer support specialist.
That's great.
To where she got to sit down and now help other individuals who has been in the same shoes that she was in. Mm-hmm. And you find a lot of that. A lot of people who have gone through long-term or going in recovery, when they get to that point where they can get out or hold a job or do different things, something changes in them. And they're like, I have got to give back because those that gave back to me to help me get here. Yeah. And I like to say, in a spiritual way, God has picked these individuals as his angels to now go out and put their hand out and help others, because again, we can't do it alone. We can't do it without that connection.
Takes a village.
Takes a village, yeah.
And so many times people think, oh, I can just do this on my own. I hear that from addicts. I hear that from family members or loved ones of addicts. Oh, I can do this on my own. And it's like, how's that working for you? And 20 years later or whatnot, And so having that extra support is more helpful and can be more successful.
Yeah, because you can't do it on your own.
And then you don't feel alone, like you were saying, oh, I'm the only one in this world,
Yeah.
And just got, oh, wait.
I had somebody tell me that once. They're like, so how's the battle going? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that, and I've done this. And it's like, well, how long have you been doing it? And I'm like, I've been doing it for like 5 years. And he's like, so how's it working for you? It's not.
Yeah. But
you still continue to do it, right? And it's just because I didn't have the resources really to go to, that I felt that was a fit for me.
Right.
And we need it. The people on the addiction side, they need someone to help them. Us on the other side, we need somebody to help us.
Tell us more about your the Healing Utah Success Summit. What is that?
Man, it is an event that we're planning our 5th one, which we're shocked that we've got 5 coming up. But it's an event where we bring individuals in that have been in long-term recovery, and we give them a stage to share their story. It's just like you do your podcast, I do my podcast, to put a platform out there for someone to use their voice. And it's just been so inspiring. And it literally has saved people's lives. Mm-hmm. And it has helped family members. And it's for anybody. You don't have to have anybody in your family that's battling an addiction. That's what's so cool about this event, is because the inspiration that you even get from it helps in our everyday lives. I talked last year about the Cartman's Triangle. Cartman's Triangle is about playing the victim. We all play the victim. We all play in that bottom triangle. Where we're the victim, we're the rescuer, and oh my gosh, it's been so long now I can't think of the other one. But anyway, we play in this triangle all day long. Mm-hmm. And when we start getting educated about it a little bit more, and we hear people who have gone through it, we use it in our everyday lives, and it really changes. So, a quick story that I'll share, where I say it saved people's lives. So in our October 2023 event, I'm on stage, I'm doing my talk, and I look up at the auditorium, and at the very, very top, last row, right up against the wall, there's an individual sitting all by himself. Nobody else around him. He's just like a loner up there. Mm-hmm. I made eye contact with him a couple times as I'm on stage talking. I get done talking, we have a break, and I start walking up the steps, and as soon as I do, I see him run down. And he runs down and he meets me in the hall. And he says, Mr. Richards, I'd like to introduce myself. And he shakes my hand and tells me his name. And I says, it's a pleasure meeting you. And he says, I ran all the way from here, from 114th and State. Now, where the auditorium is, it's like 9,800 something south and off of Frontage Road, like 7th West. So he ran a few miles to get there, right? And this is in October, so it's not as hot. But anyway, he goes to this event, and he just says, I just want to let you know how inspired I've been. And I says, well, thank you. That really means a lot, just to me and the whole team. And he says, Al, I have no friends. I have no family. I live in a sober living. I have no car, of course, And he says, I just heard about this event and I ran here. So I said, you know what? I says, I'll be your friend. I says, if you got some accountability and some integrity, I'll be your friend. A week later or so, I called him up and I said, hey, have you ever been hiking? He's like, are you kidding me? He says, no, all I've done is cause havoc in the community and been to prison and in and out of juvenile and 13 foster homes. And, he's going on. And I said, well, let me take you for a hike. And he's like, oh my gosh, yeah. So we go on this hike, and I take him up to a place here in our beautiful Wasatch Mountains called Red Pine. That man must have told me, Sue, I get emotional. He must have told me thank you over 100 times. he fell in love with it. And we ended up becoming really good friends. Months later, we're together. I can't remember, we was going to a car show or something. He goes, can I tell you something? I said, yeah, sure, what? He goes, I was contemplating suicide until I came to your event. He said, that event saved my life that day. I get emotional because that's exactly what this event's about. We changed one life, and that man's out there changing other lives. The ripple effect goes so much further than what we ever realize. I like to put it as like a tsunami, right? An earthquake happens hundreds and thousands of miles out in the ocean, and it's these little teeny, you don't even notice it. By the time it hits the shore, it's huge. That's what happens when you do events like this. That a ripple effect goes so much further. We have no idea who it's helping and how it's helping individuals. And that's why we do it every single year, is because we want to inspire, we want to let people know there is hope.
What does one expect when they go to these conferences?
Bring tissues. You will cry. Guaranteed that you will cry. You will be inspired. You will be in an auditorium filled with so much love and encouragement. Everybody there, I mean, if you see some of our old videos, I mean, people are hugging people left and right. Everyone's got smiles on their faces. You will walk away, and this is not like a Tony Robbins or a Jim Rohn type thing where you come out, yeah, you're all pumped up, and I'm going to change the world. It's that you walk out of there and you have so much love and kindness inside your heart, in your soul, and it does something to you. I don't know. We have had people come to every single event. Something's happening for them to come to every single event. And we have people come up to us all the time. It's like, my gosh, when's the next one? We got to wait till October again next year, and it's because they walk away so inspired and so full of love and hope. And some of these people have been in long-term recovery for 5, 6, 7, some 10 years, but it still gives them something.
Gives them that hope.
Gives them that hope.
And that sense of love and belonging.
Absolutely.
It is really important for that recovery to happen as well.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's cool.
So with this summit coming up, Al has also generously offered 2 tickets to that. If you follow our podcast at Spotify or Spotify or YouTube, as well as Al's podcast as well. And so be sure to do that, and so you can try to win these 2 tickets.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even if not, you can buy tickets at the door. It's very inexpensive. We don't do this event to make money. Mm-hmm. We want to make a little bit of money so we have money in our capital to put down on a venue for the next year. Right. None of us get paid, but it's only $25, but get in there and try to win these 2 free tickets, and come and be amazing. We've got some great vendors too that are starting to come in. So I think my massage therapy Spavi, I think they're coming in. They're going to give a couple minute free massages and different things, so you'll never know what to expect when you come in with the vendors. So
even if you don't win, come to the summit.
Yes.
It's going to be worth your time. Any other advice that you would like to give to our listeners today?
Oh, wow. Well, if you want to go out of the addiction part of things, don't take life so damn seriously. We can't control the pain that life throws at us. Look, we can control how we handle it. We can control which choice that we make. A while ago, I finally just threw in the towel, and my higher power is God, and I'm not talking religion, I'm talking spiritual. I just said, man, let's take the steering wheel. I'm just going to go wherever you lead me. And it's crazy because a lot of times I can't even remember what I did during the day. because I just go with the flow. And it has helped my life so much. I don't stress really hardly about anything anymore. It's like, nothing I can do about it. Might as well just keep smiling and just keep moving forward. Who knows how it's going to turn out? And since I've done that, the majority of the stuff it turns out. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because I'm not fighting it and I'm not trying to control it. I just allow life to go. I mean, what's that saying? Life is happening for us and not to us.
And it doesn't mean that life's any easier.
No, life is still going to throw crap balls at us. I mean, definitely, because it's part of life, right? We have to experience it, you know. Right. And if you have a storm that's approaching, I like to use buffalo. And I don't know how many people know this, but out on the plains, if there is a storm coming, there is a lead buffalo that will start walking towards the storm, and the others will follow it. And they go towards the storm. And the reason why they go towards the storm, because it gets them through it quicker than trying to walk away from it, because then you're moving with the storm. The black cloud's always over you. So my coaches that I work with, they're like, that needs to be your logo, right? Or part of your thing, because I have my AR as my logo, but right. A buffalo walking towards a storm.
Yeah.
And, you know, take your time, look at life differently. Being 62 now, I've lived more than I have left in my life, and I just want to wake up every day. And yes, some days aren't so good. I'm not all smiles and rainbows and unicorns every single day. However, my training and what I've learned and about life here in the past 13, 14, 15 years, it's made my life so much better. And when we start looking at it that way, life seems to go a little smoother.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today and being a guest on our show. And thank you for pulling up a chair and watching this episode about this vulnerable conversation that's about addiction and healing. A heartfelt thank you to all of you. And thank you once again for offering those 2 free tickets to the Healing Utah Success Summit happening this October in Sandy, Utah. And once again, to enter the giveaway, follow the Therapy Table on Spotify or YouTube, AR
The Other Side of Addiction on Facebook, or just look up Al Richards and message me on Facebook, right? And just say, hey, I saw the episode. You know, and I'd love those 2 free tickets, and I'll put your name down on the list, and all you got to do is show up at the door and say, I won 2 free tickets, give them your name, and in you go.
Perfect. So, if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might benefit as well. Follow us for more honest conversations about mental health, healing, and human journey. Until next time, from all of us at Lighthouse Counseling Services, take care, and remember, there is always light on the other side of the storm.